Welcome, everyone. Welcome to the comic book showdown of Ultimate Destiny. If you want to improve your crowdfunding, you are in the right place. Today, I'm going to reveal one of the biggest lessons that we've learned from all the campaigns that we've reviewed over the last 50 episodes. Can you believe we're at 50 episodes?
Smack my ass and call me 50. Wait, no, that isn't that isn't right.
So I'm going to introduce what that lesson, what the primary lesson is, and then we're going to get back into looking at 3 indie comic campaigns that Destiny will choose for us. We'll choose one campaign to back based on which one had the best presentation. So stay to the end to see who will be chosen, because in the end,
there can be only one.
But first, before we get into all those lessons learned, let's catch up on what's been going on new with Smurf and what's in the comic book world news.
Comic book world news. If you have not picked up the latest episode of Weekend Geek Update, it is available now on all platforms that you listen to your podcast on. It's great. It's out there. But one of the things I talk about, and it's annoying me, and it's getting more difficult, but I have an idea, and I think it might work. First of all, Denver Fan Expo announced an amazing opportunity to have the Joe Quesada experience. All right. And I have no ill will against Joe Quesada, the former editor-in-chief of Marvel Comics, an amazing artist. I have a lot of his stuff, and I'm going to get something signed. But if you want the Joe Quesada experience, if you want your own sketch card of head and torso on a comic book, 4 signed items, a chance to sit at a round table with Mr. Quesada to pick his brain while he makes this amazing sketch, and get an awesome selfie for the low cost of $899, you can sit next to Joe Quesada and get fisted. I mean, a sketch.
Oh, my goodness.
Fees and taxes not included, so that means by the tune of almost $1,000, the low price of $1,000, not including ticket price to get into the fucking joint, you too can sit down with Joe Quesada and not do anything else in the frickin' con.
$1,000.
$1,000. I mean, by the end of taxes, I mean, I like how they kind of curve it into $899. So what the cons are trying to do is wring every single dime out of the con goer. And what does that mean to my dear little artists, my poor little fledglings that are trying to get their foot in their door, their work out into the public? Yeah, I got a chance in hell. But I have an idea, and this is my thought, okay?
Okay.
And I know it's going to swing back. The mom and pop local cons are coming back. We're seeing them more and more. You can't shake a cat by the tail without hitting a con, a card show, something like that. If you are going to do a Kickstarter, if you are going to do a GoFundMe, all the rules that we have covered over the last 50 episodes apply, and not any of them are trivial. Everyone has its place and its importance. And now what I'm thinking is, how do you, as a artist, get the attention of people going by? You cannot sit behind your table like some elf on a shelf waiting for someone to engage you. You have to be outgoing. And I know that's against your nature, but if it's do or die right now. The world is changing. Comic books are in a state of decay. There are so many crowdfunding things out there. How do you stand out? How do you do it? Well, you create a video and you talk about your product, not yourself. You get out there and you pitch it to everybody. Or you get a tablet, which you probably are watching this on right now, and you put that video on that tablet, put it on the end of your table, and let that do the talking for you. I have yet to see someone take advantage of the technology in that way. And all you have to do is put a little slideshow, some of your art, people walk by, ooh, flashy, and then your Kickstarter video. Everything is right there. QR codes all set up. All you got to do is say hi, let that do the work, engage, interact, do something other than sit there with your nose on your tablet as you're sketching your shoes.
Yeah. Oh man, that's. I mean, it's good feedback. I got a couple of things to add. First, Matt from Symmetry says it's not just artists. A signature and a selfie with your own phone can cost up to $200 at cons. That is insanity. I mean, you're not even paying for them to take a photo. You're just like popping a selfie.
My arms aren't long enough.
For those of us that do cons, I don't know how much more strict they've gotten about this, but when I used to do cons more regularly, if you go up to them during the show, you're just another person, and they're like, $50, $100, right? But if you're there early before things open, or you're after they're late and you're locking up, it's much, much easier just to say, hey, George, can I get a picture with you? I really love your work. And it's not opening time yet. So usually they're like, yeah, sure. That's how I always got my photos. But also, I can remember, I think it was either the very first or the second Denver Comic-Con, which is what it was before Fan Expo. I paid for electricity at a table. I had a laptop, and then I had a bigger monitor. And I did exactly what you're saying. I just had a slideshow of my work. This was around 2012, so it was before QR codes were really popular. Yeah, they're probably out. I just didn't know about it. But that would have been a cool thing to add. But yeah, I just had like different slides of my stuff, played my music. Now, the only thing that frustrated me was that I had music picked out and I had stuff, so I wanted people to hear it. And I paid extra. It was like $75 to have electricity. And that was back then. And then they set up a karaoke stage, like behind me. And so like it was so loud that people would be standing right in front of me, and we couldn't hear each other, And I was so mad that I paid all this money for like, and I was like, I'm a waste. George says, for Tasmagoria, I did an event where I took my Chromebook and the Kickstarter page open and people scrolled through it. I'd have gotten one or two people like that. That's, that's a great thing. I mean, especially if you have a live campaign going to have a link to it. Maybe even say, hey, any backer that backs while we're at the show, I'll give you this free thing, a free sticker or something like that as an incentive. But yeah, we got to hustle, we got to work. And that segues me. I don't know if that's.
How about just a segue into
our next section? I want to share some feedback from our good friend, Gerald von Stoddard. Most of you watching know who he is. He's been a guest host on the show. But he watched our last episode. He watches almost all of our episodes.
I was going to say, just the last one? God damn it. We need the numbers every week.
Yeah, he watches all of them. But he said, and I will quote, I took what you and Smurf said about a campaign on your show recently, and I added my own notes. I made a quick banner image that made more sense. It was more powerful. But there needs to be a course. It's a challenge to fix things more than halfway into a campaign. People need this info while they're in pre-launch.
Mm-hmm.
So absolutely agree with that. And because of the information that, the feedback that Jill has given us before, as well as other people saying the same thing, and it's been 50 episodes now, I've been collecting all the knowledge and the data from all of these video campaigns, as well as my experiences from the last 50 episodes, and breaking it down into these individual lessons. So we're working on providing you downloadable content at a super affordable price that you can get. And
$8.99. Oh wait, sorry, no, not $8.99.
$899. You can get a PDF download. Wait, that's not right.
That's not right.
But I've almost completed the very first download, which is based on one of the most common reasons for crowdfunding. common reasons crowdfunding campaigns underperform, I should say. Can you guess what it is, Smurf?
No video. No engagement.
That's not the top reason. It is a reason.
Okay.
I'll give you a hint. It has to do with this. This slide says Kickstarter reports that the first 30 seconds of a video or scroll determines the drop-off rate.
Okay. So what we've discussed as far as, hook 'em, we don't care about. I mean, okay, I don't mean for this to sound harsh. We don't care about you. We just want to get to the meat.
You're on the right track.
You. Yeah, I love you. You're
on
great.
the right track.
I don't care about you. Yes, you're on the right track. Okay. Yeah.
So one of the most common reasons that crowdfunding campaigns underperform, we talked about this last week pretty heavily, is because the creators market only to the people who already know their work. If your pitch assumes that the audience already understands your universe, your characters, your prior issues, you're not just excluding potential new backers. You're making it harder for your own fans to share and explain your project to other people. Like, if you don't have anything, kind of a quick one-liner thing that they can go and say to someone else, they got to sit there and explain the whole backstory as well.
Yep. Don't bury the lead. Don't bury the lead. Don't.
Newcomers don't have time to learn your lore. They need a clear hook and emotional entry point right away. And I've almost finished putting together a downloadable PDF that will break down what new audiences need from your pitch, some red flags to avoid when you're putting together your campaign, as well as a little workshop exercise where you can take your pitch and test it out and see if it's targeted towards the new audience. I've also created some example rewrites where I've got a not so effective pitch that goes more to a red flag issue, and then a rewrite of how it would look better, as well as some insights on why this works. Okay.
Well, and it helps to have a strategy. It really does. When you put your campaign together, you have to take into consideration what's going on at the same time. Right? Are there other little mom and pop shops? Have I talked to my local comic book stores? Can I take this on the road? These are valuable facts that you can use to help shape your campaign, in addition to putting it out there in the world. It's like a game of Pokemon, man. You're not going to just whip Charizard out right away. No, you got to build up to it. You got to have a strategy, and this is the key to that strategy. You like that? I brought Pokemon into. I'm reaching the youngers right now. Speaking their language.
Like, when it comes to crowdfunding, we got to catch them all, right?
That's right.
Not just the ones we already got.
One funny joke.
Benjamin says there are like 3 creators who can get funded off their name alone. You probably aren't one of them. So, as Smurf was saying before the reveal, who you are and your name is probably not something you want to put at the top. That is something we're going to discuss in the PDF. Speaking of that, this PDF will go out to Patreon members automatically. So if you're already a Patreon member, you're going to get this PDF free to download. But Patreon has a new feature. It's kind of like Gumroad, but it will enable you to go to the Patreon site and download that one article that has the PDF in it for a set fee. And so you don't have to become a member. You can just buy the information of that one PDF, and that's it. And so it's sort of like downloading individual content. So kind of get the best of both worlds. You can either become a monthly member, or you can just download this individual content. And I'm hoping to have that ready maybe by the end of the day, if not by Monday at the latest. It's almost done. And that's just one, guys. That's just one lesson that we've accumulated over the course of these episodes. So there's going to be a lot more. In fact, Smurf and I were talking last week about making one that's just about video. And the do's and don'ts and tips and guides about making your video, and some things that help it be more effective and, again, reach more backers. All right, so hopefully you guys are excited about that. I know I am. I'm excited to get that information out to you guys before you launch your campaigns, and hopefully be more useful for you. All right, so we got quite a few people watching that right now. And last show we had, I think it was American Dreams was our winner.
I believe so. Yeah. Yeah. American Dream.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Congratulations to them for being the chosen one. Speaking of which, let's get into our contestants today on the Wheel of Destiny. We got some ones that didn't quite make it in last week that are still on the wheel. Plus, we got some brand new ones. So let's take a look. First up, we've got Dime Store Detective by John Dexter, who's probably watching right now. He's one of our big-time watchers.
He's a big supporter. We appreciate it.
We've got Crit, who would be king. Very colorful and interesting covers art there. Final Heist. This is a slide that was from last week, but I believe already from watching last week's episode, he went in and has already adjusted his thumbnail because, as you can see, like the title of it was cut off, things like that. But so yeah, people are constantly making changes based on this show. So lots to learn on this show. We've got Fate number 1 with a few days left. Isn't that a cool looking?
That's impressive. Yeah.
Yeah. We got Reaper Core. Then we've got the Peacekeepers, which definitely has a little bit of John Wick, a little bit of
Tarantino is immediately.
Yeah, I was going to say that first Tarantino movie. What is that?
Reservoir Dogs. It's Reservoir Dogs right there.
Mm-hmm. Definitely got a vibe like that going on. Then we've got a new entry. This is
Lucy?
Todd Rayner. This is called Luke.
Oh, Luke.
Bloody Tooth. And I actually have done a cover for Todd Rayner, one of Todd Rayner's books. He's kind of building a whole universe, and like each comic is a different character of this universe, which is pretty cool. Then we've got Tatsumi, the Serpent Mistress. I'm looking forward to this one. I believe this is from Insymmetry Creations from Matt. Correct me if I'm wrong, Matt. And then we've got another one called Vibrance, another new entry. And last we have Enenra, which has been on the show before. This is Enenra number 7.
Uh-huh.
All right, so with that said, are you guys ready for the Wheel of Destiny? Are you ready? I'm ready.
Let's fucking go!
There can be only one Highlander type situation. Behold, my Wheel of
Destiny!
Pitter patter, let's get at her.
Time to spin the wheel.
Time to spin the wheel. All right,
Time to
let's
spin
do
the
it.
wheel.
Wheel of Destiny. There we go. And let's see who is going to be first. I'm going to hit the shuffle button a couple times on this just to make it even
Build
more
that
crazy.
anticipation. Mm-hmm.
That's right. All right, let's do it. Number 1 is going to be... Oh, is it going to be? It's trying. Oh, so close. First one's going to be Crit. He who would be king. All right. Off the list it comes. Let's hit shuffle again. And hit that wheel again. Number 2. Looks like the Peacekeepers.
Oh.
All right, taking it off the list. Hitting shuffle a couple more times. All right, number 3 is gonna be, looks like Todd's book, Luke, Bloody Tooth. Congratulations to all those who have landed. There's been a few who have tried so hard to be on the wheel, and Destiny has not chosen them. If you want us to take a look at your campaign before you launch your campaign, feel free to send me a message to the Kickstarter link. I know there's a shareable link you can create when you make your Kickstarter. And I'll be happy to take a look at it. I don't want to speak for Smurf, but he might be willing to do the same thing.
I would be more than happy to help.
All right. So, sorry, John, didn't quite get on the wheel this time. But I'd be happy to take a look at your stuff. Be sure and check out all of these campaigns. Indie Comics rock, and some of these campaigns are awesome. They just didn't get selected by the wheel this week because, we got to stick to 3. All right, so let me close out all these extras here. We just need Crit, Peacekeepers, and Luke. Be sure and check out Final Heist, The Faint. It's only got 5 days to go. Reaper Core. Tatsumi has 20 days to go, so they might be on the wheel next week.
Oh, they could maybe in next week.
Vibrant also has 5 days to go. Be sure and check that one out. And Enra has only got 7 days to go and is only about halfway. So,
oh, wow.
Especially if you've done a campaign that hasn't, hit goal, and you're like, I don't know what happened, be sure and send us a link, and I might be able to take a look and see if there's anything that can be done to improve it. All right, so let's get into our first one, which looks like Crit. And let's see.
Are you killing children? Are you watching? What are you doing over there? Yes.
I have to close my window because sounds like there's some child being tormented outside.
Jesus. I thought I was hearing things. I'm like looking out the window like, what is going on?
Yeah, let me do that real quick while we check out Crit, who would be king. I'll wait till we get to the video. Let's see. This says Crit, he would be king. Crit enters the 5th year with issue 8. He who would be king, along with remastered issues of 1 through 5. Join the chaos. All right. So, what did you get out of that pitch?
Nothing. All I got is, okay, so year 5, 8 issues. Okay. I mean, he would be king. Why would he be king? Is he a prince? Is he Conan? Is he on his way looking for 2 snakes facing each other? Looking for 2 snakes facing each other, and then I will be king, and everybody will bow down before me. It will be wonderful. No women wear bras. It's great. They bounce around all day. I don't know. I got nothing from that, really. I got nothing.
Oh, I love it. I love it. The sentence that you have below your title, I forget how many characters you get for that title, but that is your first and one of your best opportunities to hook people. And so you want to use that area to the best of your advantage, which is giving us as much about the who, the what, the why, trying to get us emotionally engaged or excited in some way. So I love Benjamin says 8 issues in and he's not king yet.
Yeah, I mean, come on. Like a foot soldier? Is he a squire at least? I don't know why. Does he not want to be the king? Is that it? And he just reluctantly takes the role because nobody else is stepping up. I don't know. I got nothing.
I don't know.
All
right. Well, maybe the video will tell us something. Let's take a look here. Looks like it's only 49 seconds. Very good.
Oh, okay.
All right, that's what we get. What was your takeaway of that video? Do you know anything more now than you did before the video?
I know less, and I honestly thought I was watching a commercial for the new G.I. Joe action figures.
So I'm going to throw out a positive, and then I'll bounce it back to you. It set a tone. Like
it did set a tone.
Yeah, it was like showing me that it was going to be action oriented. It kind of showed characters, but I still don't know anything about them. They're just a name and a suit. And so I didn't really know much about them, but it did have the music and the energy was good, right? But huge lack of information. Smurf, what are your feedback thoughts while I show up the comments here?
I mean, obviously, he's building a bigger universe. This is a small key into a larger picture that we, as new readers, do not understand or see. Maybe for somebody who's been along for the 7 previous issues, kind of have a better grasp of what's going on and who is who and what's what. And I applaud that. But again, you're not doing yourself any favors by not trying to appeal to somebody new like us coming along and sees this great energy, this awesome, like, oh, in your face, kung fu grip, punch, kick. Okay, but I have no idea who I'm looking at. I have no idea if this is for Crit or one of the other 4 other titles you threw up there. There's some opportunity to get Crit across issue 8. I'm sure something happens in it. Not everyone shows up for a pose off. So I think I don't know if I would continue on is the problem. If I was just a regular guy, I think I would have probably stopped at that, go, hey, cool, and hit next.
If you were a regular guy, fortunately, you're not a regular guy.
If I was Joey Bag of Donuts, I'd be, hey, that's kind of cool. Drink my coffee, take a puff, and pass it on.
Well, yeah, I think the audience agrees that it feels more like a 3D animation or a cartoon. It didn't necessarily feel like a comic. So again, we're gonna create a checklist of things that your video should probably hit, right? This one hit tone, but I don't know anything about who this comic is about. I don't know who Crit is yet. I don't know like what's at stake. What are they trying to achieve? And that's a big one that's going to get people interested, especially in this particular issue. This is like what they say, issue 8, and so. We mentioned this before. It's really important that you pitch your comic, especially when it's on in numbers, so that it feels exciting for this one comic. What are they going to get out of this one comic? And then if they like it, they can go back and get the others. If you make it feel like, oh, this is a continuing saga, and you're not really going to understand it if you don't get the other 7, then that's going to hurt. It's going to be, make people have to backstep and go, well, I don't know if I can afford 7 or 8 issues all at once, or I don't know if this is really good enough out of the gate and intriguing me enough to get 8 issues. So sell them on the one and then hook them with, bring them in. Jumping back over to what they got here, we've got another video, which I'm not going to play, but I would assume goes into more details. Says fully funded in 45 minutes. They do have a $2,000 goal and they're at $3,500. So that's interesting that you hit goal in 45 minutes. So that's $2,000, which means the other $1,500 took a couple weeks.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting. I mean, I don't have any, thing to put behind that. I just find it interesting. Like somebody jumped in there, like backed something big right away or something. All right. So we have some information. We have a question right here. What is Crit? So let's see. This is 3 big paragraphs. So I'm probably going to just skim through it a little bit. It says, step into a contemporary fantasy world where the mundane and the extraordinary collide in a whirlwind of chaos and adventure. Crit stands for constantly running into trouble. That's the name of it.
Okay, that's clever.
It's an action-packed comic series that follows a team of friends turned heroes as they navigate a treacherous landscape, gaining incredible abilities at work and battling powerful enemies who seek to plunge their world into eternal darkness. Okay.
So that right there needs to be cut and moved to the fucking top of the page. Get rid of the "I would be king" crap. Move this up there. That is in the wrong freaking space. Come on. That is a beautiful pitch. Why is it way the hell down on the bottom of the page?
First of all, have you had some extra sugar today? You're on fire.
I am. I think it was that cherry pie I had.
Secondly, this is what he's referring to. Don't bury the lead. Get to the point. We want to know the genre, the characters, the conflict, the stakes. Why should we care? And that's exactly what that is doing there. Now, one thing I'll add here is that you've talked about this before, like the why of a thing. It says a treacherous landscape gaining incredible abilities at work and battling powerful enemies who seek to plunge their world into eternal darkness.
It's perfect.
Can we throw in a why though? Like why? What's the motivation of the villains to plunge the world into darkness? And I would assume that the heroes are trying to stop that, darkness. And so maybe like why, they don't just all immediately feel heroic when they get powers. That's something that's always interesting to me, is that like a character gets powers and then immediately does heroic things. Like I probably wouldn't step right into the heroism stuff first. I'd probably do something, self-rewarding first,
less than honest, maybe. I mean, it depends on the nature of the power. What's the power that I get? Invisibility? You bet your ass I'm abusing the shit out of that.
Yeah, I mean, if I could suddenly walk through walls, I might be walking into a bank and getting some extra financial stability first, and then going and saving the world. There's a
couple of high dollar items I'm going to go pilfer. I'm going to tell you that right now.
So the other thing that we know about this here is that this definition is still like an overall. That's like what the whole series is about, instead of what this issue is about. And so that's still a great pitch. It's still much better than what we saw, in the video that didn't tell us as much. So maybe some of that information up in the video would be really helpful. But I want to know a little bit more about, what this issue is about. Down here it says, will you like Crit? Of course you will. But more specifically, if you enjoy these things, you're going to love it. If you do enjoy stories that feature crime fighting, vigilantes, tongue-in-cheek humor, and mystery, movies like Guardians of the Galaxy, Police Academy, those are quite interesting comparisons. The Other Guys, Beverly Hills Cop, My Hero Academia, Bad Boys, Deadpool. So we're talking about action and comedy mixed. Suicide Squad, Archer, things like that. So that's another thing I would put up pretty high, maybe even as text in your video, because those kind of things can paint a picture in people's mind really quickly. And so, saying if you like, Suicide Squad or Archer or, something, like immediately they get a sense of like what this is going to be like. And you don't have to say that much. So that's a good one to move up higher. So we've got some credibility here from superseriouscomics.com and cbr.com. So that's always nice to have credibility. If you can get any kind of credibility from referrals from review sites, anything like that on your page, that's always a good thing to add, because you got to remember, people are always taking a risk when they support these campaigns. They don't know if you're going to finish the book. They don't know how long it's going to take you to finish the book, especially if you're new. And so they need assurance that they're going to get what they're paying for. And that helps a lot. All right. I think this might tell us the last piece of this puzzle here. The story continues. Crit hunted the Goblin King to the shadows of an abandoned subway, only to uncover a bigger mystery. What began as a mission for justice has unraveled into something far more dangerous. Behind the Goblin King lies a deeper conspiracy, one tied to ancient power and forgotten history. Between the past and present, myth and madness, what secrets will be uncovered? Who pulls the strings? As the story escalates, alliances will be tested in He Who Would Be King. And then we're down here into some covers. We got some nice looking covers. I liked that one a lot.
What the hell? Did you want to put that way the hell down there? I'm not scrolling that far for that.
There has been a lot. We've mentioned in the past about alternating, going between a little bit of text and some images, a little bit of text and some images, because some people might not scroll down this far. One of the things I'm looking for is right here. Now, this says issue 1 and shows me a remaster of, looks like the coloring. I don't know how well you can see it on your screen.
It's subtle, but yeah, I can tell.
Maybe I can go a little bit bigger here. There we go.
There you go.
You can see the coloring has been touched up. It's a little bit better, but that's from issue 1. This is issue 5. So they're remastering, but I want to see some, there it is again. I want to see something from this issue. Has anything been done for this new issue, or are we launching with nothing?
After funding. Yeah. Launching with funding to pay for everything.
Yes. And so I think that's what we got here, because every single piece of artwork here, although it looks good and it tells me what it's going to look like, does it tell me what this issue is going to look like? And I feel like it's something that people look for. I know Benjamin's always said, I like to see, some pages. We got some pages here. What do you think, Benjamin? Is it sufficient that you're seeing pages from previous books, or do you want to see pages from the current book?
I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing, okay, again, here's the magic formula in my mind. 3 covers, all right? Max. A sketch interior, maybe 2 interior sketch pages to kind of give a layout. They don't have to be finished. They don't have to be inked or colored in, but at least a solid sketched out of what to anticipate. In fact, sometimes I like sketches better than I like the finished line art and colors added to them, because I think it really takes away from the artist's message. So to get three solid covers, I don't need a laundry list of all the different variants. It's fine. Just give me 3 and the interior art, and I think you're golden. I really do.
So Benjamin says you got to have at least 1 pick from the new issue. I agree. I think what Smurf said, like, I would love, I don't see it that often, but I love seeing like the rough draft, and because you can usually tell what's going on and kind of get a sense of the action and the layout, even with a penciled rough draft, or if it's just the pencils or just the inks, kind of, the process stage. That's cool to me. It lets me get a sense of, what it's going to look like, what's coming. You don't need that many pages. But the other thing too that I'll recommend here, and I will say that most of the pages that he showed from these previous issues were at least high octane, high energy images. But if you're gonna make your page, 1 or 2 pages that you're going to show, because your book's not done, try to choose pages that are visually exciting, not conversation pages. One of the things that I started doing when I make my script, now that I know I have a campaign to make, is I'll set up the script and I'll see, what's going on each page. I start doing the thumbnails, and then I stop and I look at my campaign and I say, what imagery do I need for my campaign? And those are the pages that I either work on myself or I get my artist to work on and say, let's draw these pages first, so that we have promotional material to work with, instead of just starting with page 1, which might just be a conversation page, a boring page. I've seen that on several campaigns where this is what they got and they upload it and it's just like two people talking. That's, in every single comic, we know that happens, but that's not probably the one you want to show, to get that excitement going. So yeah, Benjamin agrees. Todd agrees. Something new, something of the new one. Matthew Cricks has a pitch. I'll take a look at that after the show because we got to keep on schedule. But he submitted a pitch via text right now.
Okay.
But let's go through and take a look at the rewards. We've got a $3 digital copy of PDF of Crit. That's a good deal.
Good deal.
$5 digital deluxe. What does the digital deluxe come with? Includes all the covers and prints in digital format. That's a good deal. Their books are $8. Looks like their other covers are that. Then we've got deluxe foil cover for $15. Digital download catch up of issues 1 through 8. So basically, like over 300 pages for $20. Then they've also got a wraparound foil cover, a collector's edition for $100 that includes all 8 covers, a remastered foil cover, a T-shirt, and the digital deluxe download for $100. These prices all look good as far as getting people on board.
Yeah, I would not. None of the pricing is out of whack or outrageous. Let's put it that way.
Mm-hmm. Well, and here we've got for $175, we have one called the Metal Collector, and it's already got 3 backers, which is probably a big reason why they jumped up so quickly and got backed in. What'd they say? 45 hours? Or
45 minutes. 45 minutes.
Was it minutes? It says backers will receive all 4 physical covers, a metal cover of the deluxe issue 1 and 5 remastered, 4 mini prints, the T-shirt, 5 Crit Rock glasses. I think shot glasses, maybe, or maybe something. I can't tell in the video. And then a bookmark and a deluxe PDF. So that's a lot of stuff for $175. There was 3 of those people backed. And then they had an early bird for $65 that included quite a bit as well. And there was like 9 people on that. So those 2 things got them jumping up pretty quickly. And that's their 175 is sort of their big tier. So any thoughts or feedback on that before we move on to the next one?
I like the planning, the forethought that went into it. I'm worried about the shipping costs on the $175 one. That's a lot to ship out for 100.
Yeah, you got glasses and T-shirts.
Glasses. I mean, that's one thing that we've touched on. We've not really dived into the shipping aspects of it, but that is something to take into consideration when you're building your campaign, especially with the whale tiers and what they're getting. But I honestly think the layout for the pricing structure is on point. I mean, it is beautiful, actually. I would come up with something else for a larger whale tier, maybe some kind of sketch cover or a larger sketch print. $500, and you get to be part of the Crit team in a splash page or something along those lines, just to kind of generate just a little bit more revenue. I know you already hit goal, and maybe that's something to consider for the next campaign. But I would do a splash page and be inserted in with the Crit team.
Yep. All right, so that brings us to number 2, the Peacekeepers. Let's go ahead and show that one. The Peacekeepers 1 through 5 from Ringo Award winner Ryland Grant. Bank robbery, murder, mayhem, a twisted howl at the freaking moon crime drama from creator of The Jump, The Breach, and Bad Checks.
Okay.
So there's a lot going on there. A bank robbery, a murder, mayhem, a twisted howl at the freaking moon crime drama. There's a lot of words going on there. I just had to like figure out how to say it. But how
that's a lot of fluff.
Crime drama. Yes.
Oh.
Now Ryland Grant is a known creator. So I'm sure that's going to help bring backers. They've currently had a goal of 5,000, and they are currently at 6,256. So they've hit goal, but they still got 20 more days to go. So that power of people knowing you, that helps quite a bit. It's also on projects we love. Let's see what the video tells us. I'm going to switch to this one real quick. There we go. Seconds, so let me know if you want to pull it off.
Hello, Kickstarter. My name is Rylan Grant. I have for about 15 years worked as a screenwriter in Hollywood, developing film and television projects with folks like Ridley Scott, J.J. Abrams, John Woo, Luc Besson, and Justin Lin. Most recently, I did a film called State of Consciousness with Emile Hirsch. It was the #2 film on Peacock over the summer. I also did a film with Matt Dillon, an Academy Award-winning director, Fernando Torrebra, called Haunted Heart. Those are good. Go see them. But if you were here on Kickstarter, you know my publishing company, Half Evil Comics, and that is because we have been award-winning face-melting actiontainment since about 2018. That, of course, includes Kickstarter hits like the Peacekeepers, the Breach, and the Jump. It also includes comic shop sensations like Aberrant, Banjax, and Suicide Jockeys. Half Evil Comics won a Ringo Award. We were nominated for Best Series alongside books like Bitter Root and Something's Killing the Children. I was nominated for Best Writer next to heavyweights like Bendis, Lemire, and Snyder. Short and sweet, at Half Evil Comics, we make pretty damn good books.
Too late.
And honestly, this might be the best of the bunch. It is a love letter.
Smurf's calling it. Smurf's calling it. We are still got almost a minute, a little over a minute to go, and Smurf says, I still don't know what this is about.
I don't know what it's about. I appreciate the resume. I mean, you've worked with some impressive people. Are they in this comic?
So, again, I agree with you. Like, you see this person's resume, and you're like, oh, wow, look at the names. A lot of name dropping. And I honestly probably would have kept going a little bit farther, but I did like one thing, and that's what Benjamin was just saying as well. And that is that we got to see art first, right? I like that he did that out of the gate. He was like, here's the art, here's the tone. So again, tone was set and art was shown. Those are good. But it's, again, except for the tagline, which was better than the last tagline, I still don't know like who the players are, what's at stake, what happens if they succeed or fail, those kind of things. And I'm assuming that Rylan is going to get into that later on in this video. Unfortunately, he has buried the lead. Right? Well, we'll show that slide again. Right? Right? Don't bury the lead. Very impressive resume, but
I mean, holy shit, John Woo, fuck yeah, Matt Damon, freaking awesome, love them. They're not in this comic. I mean, the only thing that you showed me is that you were able to work with some high-powered people. All right, and I love that he immediately assumes that I know his comic book company. I don't.
All right, I'm going to do something a little unusual here. I'm going to open this back up and turn this back on because I scrubbed a little bit, and it looks like he was just about to start telling us about this comic.
Okay, let's hear it. But let's see what he has to say.
I'm glad that we paused and said we should probably have changed the order here a little bit, but let's see if he actually is telling us about this comic.
And it is only available here on Kickstarter. All hell breaks loose in a quaint northern Michigan community when a team of in-over-their-heads bank robbers kills a beloved sheriff's deputy. In a small town with big secrets, local detective Richard Holton races to peel back the layers of the depraved down-home conspiracy before the bungling federal agents assigned to the case send everyone involved to ground. So if you did film,
that was it right there. That
Why
should have
didn't
been
he-
at the front.
Yes,
Right
right
at the
after that
front.
great entrance, after that huge, great setup, that should have followed, not the resume. I don't care. Great. Put that in. Whoever edited this, he needs a stern talking to. You know better. You know better.
I do like that little section right there was only like 30 seconds.
It's
and
gold.
It had the art. It had what was happening. It had a voiceover telling us what was happening. So we didn't have to read anything. It had everything that you want in a good pitch video. And it was super short and sweet. I think that starting with that, putting that, front loading that, and then maybe after that, getting into some of the accolades of why you should support this and all the personal stuff, because the opening was good.
Yes,
this is better. This has what is going on as well, so I get information. Because remember, I'm going to go back to my very first one of my very first slides here. This is
he even called the detectives bumbling.
yes. I did want to share this once again. So Kickstarter reports that the first 30 seconds of a video or scroll determine drop-off rate. So that whole section was 30 seconds where he told us everything we needed to know about that. If we put that at the beginning, that probably would have kept people even longer. I'm not saying that this isn't a good video or that Ryland's not, got a lot of accolades. I'm saying from a new person's point of view, Smurf was ready to go. I was hanging on, waiting for information, and putting that in the front would have hooked me, and I would have been like ready to listen to all this other stuff as well with it. So small little adjustments can improve even the best campaigns.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so let's go ahead and jump down to what else we got going on in this campaign, because we got to keep moving here. Remove that. Put this one up. All right, so again, we got a picture, which is always nice. And then it says The Peacekeepers is a comic series from Ryland Grant, artist Leon Davis, colorist Iwan Joko Tiarono, and letterer HDE, the same twisted team that brought you. See, again, move that down. Go back to what this is. The first 4 issues of The Peacekeepers launched to much fanfare. Again, move that down. I love this right here, this credibility. It says, this is some next level shit. Grant's cinematic prowess is on display like never before. The Peacekeepers may be his best work yet. You want greatness, look no further. That's something great we want to keep at the top. Maybe even throw it in the video. If you're new to Peacekeepers, don't worry. We have everything you need right here to get caught up. And then we've got the pitch. This is exactly the same thing he read on the video. All hell breaks loose in a quaint northern Michigan community. I do feel like, and again, I want to see if I feel like the pitch, all hell breaks loose in a quaint northern Michigan community when a team of in over their heads bank robbers kills a beloved sheriff's deputy. That's good, but I think it could be better. It's a little bit word heavy. So even when he was reading it, he read it very clearly because I think he wrote it.
Well, he probably wrote it.
Yeah, but like even with that, it's like a lot of extra stuff that some extra words that are making it harder to communicate the baseline message and keep it streamlined. So like quaint northern Michigan community, that's a lot of words to just tell me a small town.
Yeah. Don't use 7 words when 5 will do.
Right. And so I feel like, sometimes it helps to run that through, getting some feedback for some other people that maybe haven't ever heard this before. But all in all, I feel like it is a good a good presentation.
I mean, it's a great pitch. I like a lot of elements. They're just all in the wrong order. I honestly, this I would probably pick off the shelf. And again, that's the highest compliment I can give any book. I would pick this up off the shelf. I'd be curious to see. But the order in which that everything is executed it doesn't flow well. And again, Joey Bag of Donuts probably would have moved on.
Joey Bag. I always like
Joey Bag of Donuts.
All right. Sorry, I was looking to see. I felt like I might have looked at and rewritten this before, but I can't find it. Anyway, so this looks like a top-notch storytelling. I'm excited because that is one thing from all the accolades. I feel just confident that it's going to be a good story based on what who's worked with, and the credibility, notes and stuff.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's getting a little overdone. Like here we've got Rylan Grant has worked for 15 years in Hollywood creating film. Like, we got it. You told us that, and so here we got down to the preview of the books. And I don't know if this is from what issue this is from, but this is chapter 1. But we can see that the artwork is really great. And I saw that in the video as well. So at this point, I'm hooked. When I saw that 30-second section or 20-second section, I was hooked. I was like, this sounds great. The premise sounds great. And now all I want to do is get to like what I'm getting out of this. You can see right here, this is a good graphic to add. 32 pages, full color, 80-pound, 100-pound glossy. You know exactly what I'm getting now.
And that needs to be higher up.
So all in all, people are here to buy the product, and some of that information about who you are and what you've done can be helpful, but don't put it in the beginning. My personal opinion is to load up what the book and the what the book is about first, then get to that stuff. I think Smurf's on board with that as well. So let's go over to the campaign stuff. We have a thank you for helping us bring Peacekeepers. You'll get PDFs of Ringo's Banjax, Aberrant, Suicide Jockeys, The Jump, and a special preview of The Breach, 140 pages for $5.
That's a value. That's great.
The value. Now, you don't get in any of that Peacekeepers. You get the other one. With the Digital Deluxe for $10, you get a digital download of Peacekeepers 5, plus go behind the scenes and see how the book was made from start to finish, digital files of the script, teams, layouts, inks, colors, and all those other books we just mentioned. That one's obviously very popular. It has 37 backers. That's $370 of digital rewards right there. Then we've got the regular book cover for $20. All right, so here is the digital format. So this is issue 5. For $20, new to the Peacekeepers, get yourself caught up with all 5 issues and go behind the scenes and get all those other books we just mentioned. That's like 260 pages for $20. So I feel like the rewards are really well thought out, and they're utilizing previous campaigns to help push it along, and it's working. Scrolling down, we got lots of different variants. All 4 covers of issue 5 for $60. The half evil stockpile of all the digital books. Scrolling down more, we got original art for $100. What's this?
Oh, that's a bargain.
Score, one of a kind piece of original hand-drawn inked art from Davi Leon Diaz, one of the artists. They're A5 format, which is 6 by 8 inches, and feature characters from the Peacekeepers. So you get everything from all 4 covers, the print catch up, the digital catch up, and one of these original sketches of one of the characters, all for $100. That's a good deal.
That is a bargain right there. That is
one.
Is it only one? Has it sold?
No, there are 8. No, there is. It doesn't show a limit. There's only one backer. So for that one,
interesting. That's actually what, as a comic enthusiast, and what I'm looking for on Kickstarter, that is what I would focus in on right there. That is probably the best deal out of everything that I have seen thus far.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great bargain for all that. And then we've got a one-on-one video session with Rylan Grant for $100. Again, Rylan is a Ringo Award-winning comic creator, spent 15 years developing team projects with Ridley Scott, J.J. Abrams, blah, 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 blah. Do you need your film or TV comic pitch feedback? Instead of coming to the Comic Book Showdown of Ultimate Destiny and getting it for free, you can go to Rylan and get it for $100.
I apologize for my laughter. Go on.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm sure there would be some good information of that. And you do get all the other stuff, all the covers, all the digital catch-ups, all the signed stuff. So that's still a good deal. And then we've got a digital commission, again, for $100. I'm going all the way to the bottom to see where the big one is. We got a 400 Draw Me In and Give Me Lines tier. There's a $200 Draw Me In where you get a cameo, and then there's a $400 Draw Me In with lines, speaking lines.
Speaking lines.
For $400. And then their whale tier, they got 2 of them. Holy moly, this is going crazy. We got a $1,000 associate producer credit. I'm kind of getting past all of the fluff here. Hold on. You'll receive a credit to the book right next to the writer, artist, colorist, and on any future films, TV shows, etc. Includes everything from all the other issues. So your name will be next to the credits, and if they get it turned into a film, your name will still be included in the credits.
Your name up in lights.
And then for $1,250, you'll get an original story starring you. Will write and draw an original 5-page story that takes place in the universe of Peacekeepers that stars you as the protagonist. Receive a PDF as soon as it's finished, and it will eventually appear in print inside the next Kickstarter installment. A little extra 5-page story featuring you. And someone's already jumped on that.
I could see, okay. You know what? I see a value there. I see a value in that. That is fun. That is some very clever thinking.
So I feel like on tiers, my personal opinion, and you can dispute this all you want, but I feel like he's crushing it on the tiers. We've got low-level tiers that give you a lot of value, all kinds of digital books, all kinds of stuff, and then we got high-level tiers that people are jumping on. Being in the book, getting yourself drawn into the book. Those are some great high-level tiers to think about. So a nice balance of both.
It does, and I can see why he's so high, especially with that $1,200 tier, the whale tier. You don't know until you put it out there. You got to scratch the ticket to win. If you don't offer it, then you've got nothing to lose if nobody takes you up on it. So, and you have everything to gain. So that is some marketing genius right there, and it's only $1,200. And you're basically paying for your own comic book. I would pull the trigger on that. I really would, because that would be fun.
Honestly, other than a few things that we mentioned as far as the order of things, I think this is a really well put together campaign. You can tell that this person's had done this before, had some experience. I just feel like, no offense, that a little bit too much time has been spent on, the creator and what this person has done, they do have worthwhile accolades. Don't get me wrong. Like, working with those people is a big thing, but
it's not what I'd lead off with.
Yeah, I wouldn't start with that. I would start with what's this comic about? Because it was solid. It was good. It was hook worthy. I was interested. And other than that, really nicely done. Benjamin says, if this comic is as Tarantino-like as you say, your character is definitely going to die.
And I'm fine with that. I tell Jeffrey Riddick every time, just put me in one of the Final Destination films and just kill me. I don't even want to talk. Just kill me. I don't care. I make the appearance, and then I am kaput.
Yep.
Easy peasy. And I get paid scale? I don't even want to get paid. Just show me up and kill me. I'm fine.
Yep. All right, that brings us to our third and final campaign of the show. The show went a little bit long because we were talking about all the cool PDF downloadable stuff that we're going to start providing to you. But we're wrapping it up here on our last one, and it is called
Luke in the Bloody Tooth.
Bloody Tooth. It says, and this is by a returning, I'll get the word right.
Contestant,
if you will. Yeah, there we go. Todd Rayner, who I actually did a cover for on one of his previous books. His company is called Dark Space Studios. It says in the tagline, when Luke searches for answers about his parents in Salem, Massachusetts, he stumbles into an ancient war between fairies and vampires. Right? So
that's beautiful.
Nice pitch there. We get who. Now, if I was going to suggest anything, we know that Luke is the name of the main character. That's obviously in the title. So maybe we can replace the word Luke. It says when Luke searches for answers. Is there something special about Luke that makes this story move forward? Like, is he, a regular Joe? Is he, a father? Is he special in some way? Might replace that with that first section where it says Luke. When a, such and such person searches for answers about his parents, because that's one more piece of information. And you could probably just put Salem. Most people know it's Salem, Massachusetts. There are other Salems, but that's the one.
There are other Salems.
He stumbles into an ancient war between fairies and vampires. I love that. We all know who fairies and vampires are. And so that's great information as well. So on the right track already. Good job, Todd. They have a $500 goal, and they're at 200. So what is that, 40%? With 31 days to go, which means this was an extended campaign. If they were already, I think it launched yesterday. So 32 days or something. But honestly, there's a lot of different levels of goals that you can put. And there's a balancing act between how much is too high and how much is too low. And we've talked about this in the past too. Some people's campaigns are all up into like $8,000 of goal. And when you have it that high, it makes it seem like you're trying to pay yourself to draw those pages, which is not, an unfair thing to do, but it just means that it's harder to hit that goal, On the other end of the spectrum, we have these super low goals. And I'd love to hear your feedback, everybody's feedback, not just from me. So, Smurf, the audience, when the goal is really low, I question why you need to raise money for $500, right? $500 can't buy a comic. It can't pay for the making of a comic. So it's just going to make maybe a few issues, right? So it's either you have a low goal because you're wanting to hit it and make sure you hit it. But it shows, almost like an uncertainty. You're not sure, you're not confident that you're going to make it. So you set it really low, right? So in my personal opinion, in my experience, I would say $1,000 is about as low as I would go on a campaign goal so that it looks legitimate. It holds legitimacy and say, hey, you know what? I'm drawing this. I'm doing that work myself. So I don't need to pay myself, but I still need, to print books, get it out there, pay for some things like letterers or whatever, and it gives a little bit more legitimacy to it. But that's my opinion. What do you think, Smurf? What do you think, audience?
$500 doesn't even cover shipping. I mean, just look. I mean, just
well,
being
to be
practical.
fair, the goals don't cover shipping, but
the goals don't cover shipping. But I mean, a $500 goal doesn't cover shipping. It doesn't lend any reservoir to what you're trying to accomplish. I mean, I know the dream, hopefully it is, to be a permanent comic book creator, and to do that, you have to set goals and expectations. And I said this once, and it really upset the person. But if you don't care about your product, why should I? Put in the time, put in the effort, make it realistic. Okay, $500. I mean, I got 5 friends. Each one could give me $100, and I'm there. I mean, and I could give them creative control or credit in the book. So at least, and I agree with Matt, $1,000. That at least helps operational costs and the bottom line. And that's usually what I am about, is all about what's your profit, what's your takeaway, and can you function at that level? $500, you're not functioning. $500, you're not even paying for ramen. So let's set that goal at least at $1,000. And if you get past it, that's great. That's awesome. That means everyone is taking you seriously, as they should, because this is your baby and we want you to succeed.
Benjamin says, I don't really mind low goals. It's the high ones that won't get reached that bother me, especially when I want to read it. Yeah, it's like you see a good campaign. We just saw this recently. You see a really good campaign. They got good goals. You want the book. You pay. You join. You back it. But then they're just still like thousands of dollars away from hitting their goal, and you're like, I'm never going to get this book. I really wanted to. Right.
Yeah.
So that's definitely a downside. So yeah.
Well, and I think when you're dealing with those lofty goals, and this is something that I'm trying to relay to a couple people who've approached me of like, it's an indie comic. All right. I can understand page rate, and I've been on both sides of the artist conundrum. Do they deliver? Do they not deliver? How much is an artist worth? What is the page rate? You may think you are Bruce Willis, but that doesn't mean you get Bruce Willis money. Okay. There are expectations, and there are limits to where you are currently at your stage. All right. An indie comic, I'm sorry, but if you want full page rate, go work for the big boys. Go get in there. If you want to start out and build up, you're gonna have to pay your dues. And I hate saying that word, but it is true. You have to work the process. You have to earn it. And I'm sorry, some people really take themselves seriously, and God bless you. And I'm sure you will succeed. But at some point, you will have to come to terms of, do I eat or do I be realistic?
Madness Entertainment Group is with us, says, we did a couple of ComCons dedicated to the elevator pitch. That's good. People, that's what this show is all about. People tend to know how to write it. They do research on how to write a story. They get good artists, and they get colorists, and they, you have to learn about, how to solve the lettering issues and finding a good letterer. But a lot of time is not spent on, well, how do I market it? How do I pitch this? And that's one of the reasons we're putting together PDFs and things that you guys can download that will help you before we get out there, right? Madness says, the big boys don't pay a decent page rate. That's true sometimes.
That's true. It's very true.
So we got on a little tangent there, a little bit more than I intended to about the goal, but honestly, that's not the end of the world. Like that's a small thing in comparison to some of the bigger things. It's just something that I caught my attention, wanted to mention, and then we elaborated on it a little bit. So let's get back on to course here. Let's see which one of these, what this video tells us. So take a look here. It's a 1/32. Seconds. All right, I'm gonna pop up. Gonna pop up one. We're shooting from the hip today. This is my feedback.
Yeah.
Videos aren't for reading. So when we see movie trailers, they'll have text come up, but generally it's like 1 or 2 words at a time, maybe 3, because most of the time there's like dialogue from the actors, kind of filling in the gaps and giving us some B-roll and things like that. And so there was a lot of text in this video. I would keep it a little bit shorter and popping up more frequently. Like there was, anywhere from 10 to 12 words to read, and I couldn't really read them until they completely finished their graphic. When you're making, I tell my graphic design students this, when you bring text in with graphics and effects, the readability time doesn't begin until the graphic is fully formed on screen. At that point is when you start the countdown of how much time it takes to read it, right? And so that's a lot of text to read. And so maybe breaking it up into smaller chunks that comes up more solidly, because I get that, speaking is not for everyone. So you're trying to find ways to, get around that, get the information. I commend the positives though. It had almost everything you look for in a video. It's just, I wanted to get it maybe without having to read so much and maybe picking up the pace a little bit. I realize it's a slow burn type of story, so it fits the tone. But it was some voice would have helped, right? What do you think, Smurf?
I agree. I think it set the tone beautifully. I love the artwork. I love the line work. Please don't add color to this because I think it would diminish the content and take away from the storytelling. I think what we saw is perfect. Now, the pacing of which it was set, you did give us, some of us, enough time to read, but again, I don't need to read. A simple voiceover would have worked, especially when you're doing the fade in and the fade outs of the principal art. So if you had something as a transition or something else that would fuel in between the art, maybe having just the card come up, the voiceover, and then as the voiceover is going, transition into the next image so that you're timing right about your halfway point of that card, you're already transitioning into the next image. And I would align it that way on your timeline as far as your editing is concerned. Because it is great. I really like the feel and the art and the story. All of it fits, but I would just pick the pace up and give a voiceover to it.
So again, we're going to put together some sort of download that's just about videos, because Smurf's got a lot of information about videos. I teach video editing at school, and so we're going to put that out as a guideline, right? But one of the things that I don't know if you heard me keeping track, when the video started, I was tracking seconds. Because remember, I put up that graphic earlier that you want to catch people in the first 30 seconds. And something else that is done a lot because people see it done in movie trailers is you see all these studio graphics coming up, like the studio that made the show or the movie, Universal Pictures presents all this stuff, right? But that's eating into that time of that 30 seconds. And so again, similarly to what we were saying about Ryland's campaign previously, he was talking about his accolades. It's kind of similar to putting your company graphics at the beginning and then having them slow burn with these graphics, is that by the time we finally get to the first piece of art, it's 20 seconds in. And that's also the first about 15 seconds we see the first text that tells us what this issue is about. And so that first 15 seconds could be cut off completely, bumped up, and then you're getting into the meat and potatoes sooner. and then you can put that in the middle or at the end. It's still cool, still graphic, want to have those graphics, but maybe just not right there at the beginning.
Well, and even to replace those title cards, the words that you wouldn't need if you had a voiceover, that you could do a crossfade into Dark Studios and then cut more to the artwork and then the title and then the artwork. And then, I mean, you get this nice wave to complement what you're already presenting, especially if the dialogue just kind of stays in sync with that. Dude, that's not only cool, but it's extremely creative, and you don't often see it.
Yeah. Matt from Imagery says the start was too slow, in my humble opinion. If you're 15 seconds in and nothing's really been stated, that's the formula for someone to skip out of the video. That's what we're saying. So something must happen in 9 to 10 seconds. So I've learned this a lot from not only this show, but just YouTube in general, because, we're trying to build our YouTube channel. And so I watch a lot of stuff about how to make good YouTube videos. And on that channel, like they say it's even less, you have like 3 to 5 seconds to get people's attention really fast. And so a lot of times I'm using the same things that, YouTube teaches to bring over here into the Kickstarter world and these videos in the same manner, because it has to do with the fact that people's attention spans, due to the sheer volume of media that we take in on a daily basis. We're on our phones and our stuff almost all day. We're oversaturated, and so it's got to get to it quick before we scroll and move on to the next thing. Yeah, I would say all the information we're saying here is right. Now, again, I want to hit the positives. The tone was good. It tells us who the players are and what's happening. Even though it did it in words, it was still giving us all the information. It showed us art, and it had a hook. I don't know if you caught that. It was like, will he survive?
Will he survive? That was great.
That's always a good thing to add. So, Todd, you got all the parts in there. Next time around, or if you have time, you still got 31 days to maybe rework this video, and you can change the videos, is to just go through and try getting a voiceover to say those things instead of just reading them. And you can always have both, because some people will watch a video with the sound off because they're like students in my class, so they don't want to know they're on their phone. Then on the other end of that spectrum, there's people who are listening to it in the car, not actually watching the video. And so one of the things that we've learned is you want to kind of hit both of those, so you could have text and have somebody reading it. You can do both. Benjamin says that video did make me want to see the full pages. So
Agreed. I agree with Benjamin. I want more.
Go to this one. Come on. Oh, that's why. Couldn't do two things at once. All right, so we got story section up here. All right, so this is another tip that I've given, Benjamin's given, Smurf's given, and that is that if you have an entire section here that is all text, people look at that and go, oof, that's a lot, right? So stagger it, picture, text, picture, text, picture, text. Because right here it says Luke Bloody Tooth, simply put, is the story of Luke. So you could probably start off with an image, maybe one of your cover images to get our attention. This is a 22-page old school black and white horror book that begins after the events and revelations of Annabelle. So we get what we're getting. It's black and white. It's 22 pages. I love that. He recently found out his parents were part of a witch coven and learned he has magical powers. He decides to head to Salem, look for answers about his parents. And while he's there, he finds himself in trouble. And so, kind of match the tone of the text with the imagery. So if you have him, if you're saying he finds himself in trouble, right below it, let's show a picture of Luke in trouble. kind of keep the tone of the imagery going along with it. Does Luke find the answers he's looking for? Can his newfound friends keep him safe? Can Icepick and Annabelle help? These are all great questions. And then we have these including previous issues from the other books, because I do know that these all tie together. So all the characters kind of have their own book series. So this is a great cover here that could be put up at the top. So we know what we're getting in this issue. We know the art. I'm looking now for some interiors. There's some great art by Courtney Rose and Dave Kemp. I tell you, Dave and Dan Kemp, man, if you guys haven't used them before, they are beasts. They can create
rock stars.
Pages from anywhere from the big Marvel and DC books all the way down to the indie books. They don't care. It's just another page for them, and they do a great job, and they're quick. This book, this reminds me of something. Like those old book covers from like children's book covers. What am I thinking of? It's like a mystery.
What, the Hardy Boys? The Hardy Boys?
Not that old.
Okay. Wow, not that old. What the hell with you?
I think Todd got it. Like Goosebumps.
Okay. Yeah, Goosebumps is a little after me.
Yeah. Well, yeah. A lot of things are. This is a beautiful cover. So there we got our interior pages. So we've got that black and white, that gritty feeling, like Benjamin was saying, it does feel gritty. Love the facial expressions. So we're getting a nice look at what this book's going to look like. And so that's something we always want. So you're doing all those things right. I would probably say that this could go up a little bit faster. I don't know. What do you guys think? Would you rather see like a cover, some information, and then jump into interior pages? Would you rather see interior pages first? Like, what do you want to see first?
I always kind of err on like, let's see what we're getting into. Go open up, at least, like I say, a couple of interior pages, and then as you go down to your tiers and all that, then give us the covers. Give us the unveil of that. You already got us hooked with the art that's going on inside. Everyone always focuses so much on the covers because they're glamorous, they're great, but is that the interior art? And that was like one of the things that annoyed me the most about our Image for the longest time. Amazing art, awesome covers, interior suck balls. I mean, it was awful. So show me what I'm getting, not some. I mean, and if all of the artwork is Matt's cover, then perfect. I'm happy. If it's Matt's cover with little 5-year-old Susie's Crayola works, nope, not going to go into it.
All right, Matt from Incendiary says, I humbly disagree with Smurf. The cover's designed to catch your eyes, so you need to have them near the top. So that's what Luke has got going on here. It's basically in the order of things. Let me go back to that screen. We've got big chunk of text that tells the story and what the campaign includes. Then we jump into covers, and you can see over here he's utilizing the jump spots. There's quite a few covers, and then we get right into sample interior pages. So I think the order of covers and then interior pages is good. I feel like in this case, just a way to like break that up would be maybe starting off with one of the covers here, then a little bit about the characters, then maybe another cover. It's kind of alternating back and forth a little bit so that, we don't have that big open dead space at the beginning with no art. But the order of, the covers and the interiors, that works. And I will say this, that, he's got those fairly close to the top. Covers, interior pages, stretch goals, then rewards, and then his art team is at the very bottom, which is a good order to have things in. And Todd says collectors do tend to care about cover artists and not always interiors. So you're catering to two different people. You got the collectors who are buying covers, buying books based on the value of their covers. Who did the cover? I want to buy it because of that person, or how rare is the cover? And then you got the people who are buying it because they want to read the story. And so you got to have both. Jumping quickly over to the rewards. We got issue 1 PDF, $5. That's always a good, solid price point for digital. Cover A is only $10. And then Virgin Cover A is $15. We got Cover B, Cover C, Cover D. They're all $15. Virgin Cover B is $20. So then we got some Virgin covers of those. Then we got issue 1 limited edition cover by Christian Navarro. That's that bright pink one right here. And it says limited edition. So I almost called you Luke. Todd, what is it limited to? I think that's something you might want to add. Is it limited to 50 copies, 100 copies? Is it limited to based on how many you sell and what your campaign is? In that case, that's a little harder to determine. But if I know, hey, there's only like 10 of these or 20 of these or 50 of these, then that's a big deal. Limited could mean hundreds. Issue 1 cover and a sketch card. Covers A through E, not including the Virgin covers. So that's 5 covers for $85. That's a pretty good price. Mm-hmm. All the covers, including the virgins for $125. The original cover pencils. I don't think I've ever seen Todd do that. Original cover pencils, $150. So I would say that's a great deal for.
That's a great deal. Honestly. Yeah.
But I would also include the book. It doesn't say anywhere that you get the book, so I'd also have to add that on in an add-on section. It only costs you what? Generally, on an average, like $3 to print a book. It does you nothing to make it digital. So one of those two things should be thrown in to that.
I would throw in a digital. It's no additional cost. It's easy, and if you're paying for the sketch cover, you're not going to want to open that up anyway. So I would do a digital, make it easy, and they have a great item.
Right. Says it should be included. I'll need to fix that. Okay. Good. Okay, so the high dollar reward stops at $150, which is the original cover inks. Again, there's a cover pencil, and then there's cover inks, both $150. So, can you guys think of a way that you could get more of a whale tier, more of a like his goal is $500? Could we make a $500 tier that Todd could afford? It's not going to break his bank or put extra burden on his shoulders. That with one person could hit that goal, a $500 goal. What do you guys think? Can we do it? Can we come up with something like that? So one thing, I don't know how finished this book is, but one thing might be to be drawn into the book. Generally, you can get a couple $100 for that.
What I would say, and Todd could shoot me down on this, but I would also like to see like some of the original character designs. Like you could have a shot of like some of the original sketches of the character designs, because you've got a lot of elements here with the vampires and the fairies and the town and all of that. And I'm sure there was some doodling. There's some stuff that probably got thrown out, some behind the scenes things that, you know, you want to use later or just didn't fit this project. I think having some of those original sketches accessible or out there would be a draw, would grab my attention. Like, okay. And because again, there's some images or a gigantic splash page, because that artwork I'd hang in my office. That would go up on the wall because I love that style. I love what that looks like, and maybe even just a unique township piece. I don't know. I don't know what the time and all that is, but those are the two things that I could see standing out as a possibility.
Okay. So Todd said that the book is 100% complete. So the idea of being drawn into the book is out of the question. However, if the interior work is traditional, you have the opportunity to sell one or more pages of that. Number two, you could, if I took, let's just say your cover, you're listing it at $150, right? Let's say that instead of just the cover, you get the cover and every single issue of everything that you've done in this universe, the Luke book, the Annabelle books, everything in physical format, all the variant covers, and you put them in there at, their normal cover price, you're already probably talking into the $300-400 range. And then if you want to throw in like a custom sketch or of one of the characters, similar to what we saw, I think it was in the last one, where they had already pre-sketched out some 6x8 character sketches, and like, we're going to throw one of those in there as well. That shouldn't take you more than an hour or two or whatever. Or maybe you can convince one of your cover artists to do a sketch. Granted, you got to give them a little bit of money, but
a little scratch,
but a big package that includes artwork, and maybe also calling them, an executive producer and having their name listed in the back. All kinds of things can be put into there to really make that a big whale tier reward. Because, you never know. You never know. If you make it valuable enough that people feel like they're getting a lot of bang for their buck, you'll be surprised. Somebody might jump on it. And then, boom, you've hit goal in like one click. Right? All right, that brings us to the end of, looks like, one of our longest running episodes of all time. That
well, it is our 50th episode. I mean, we couldn't just kind of do this half-ass, limpy biscuit kind of, show.
That's right. So, audience, join us in deciding which one you feel like gave us the best information, the best pitch, and which one would you back based purely on that information. We had Crit, He Who Would Be King. We had the Peacekeepers from Ryland Grant and all of his accolades. And then we had Luke, Bloody Tooth, the Fairies and Vampires book. Right. So I've been busy clicking things, so I need to put mine down.
I'll let you put yours down. You know what? This one's tough. I do have to admit, this one is particularly difficult because each campaign did click a lot of boxes, like a lot of things that were done very well. Some were a bit out of order, but I think all three, you know what? All three should fund, in my opinion. All three are backing worthy. For even Joey Bag of Donuts.
Even Joey Bag of Donuts. This one's tough for me too. And I'm trying not to let my personal bias get involved, because I know Todd. I've been part of his book. So which one pitched the best? Man, this is tough.
It is tough. I did not come to my decision lightly.
Yeah. What do you guys think in the audience? What's your vote? I have made my choice. It is a tough one. So I'm ready. I got to find my my drum roll here. Are you ready, sir?
I am ready, sir.
All right. Here we go. We're going to the wheel, ladies and gentlemen, on our 50th episode. All right. So
even if Todd doesn't agree with me on interiors first before covers, that's fine. That's just me.
Yeah,
I just think the interiors speak better to the book than the cover. Personally, put the strong foot forward. Not saying it's wrong, but in that case, I think the interior speaks better than the covers. Personally,
right. Yeah, this was a tough one for me. I feel like both Peacekeepers and Luke did a good job of pitching information. I felt like the reason I chose Peacekeepers is because I feel like in the end, when it finally got to the point, I was more intrigued by what the story was giving, what he was giving me as to what was going to happen. Like there was a heist gone wrong and all these things. There's lots of crumbs about what was going to be in this book. And so I was intrigued to read it. And
I agree. It's just, it took so long to get there. If he had gotten to that point right out of the gate, I'd be with you. I would be with Peacekeepers. Todd got to the point quicker. Granted, the video needs to be a bit of a speed up and change a few things. Give us some dialogue and all of that. But everything is already there. It's just a tune. The other thing is like a whole edit. Move this here, put this back there. Stop talking about yourself. And give my best to John Woo.
All right, man. I agree with you. Like these are both good. So we couldn't decide. So we're gonna let fate decide. So let's jump over to the wheel here. Let me see if I can share that tab, and there we go.
Did you like
All right. So
did you like my bloody tooth? Did you like my bloody tooth? That was.
I did.
It's not a snow cap. That's a tooth.
Before we spin, Benjamin says Peacekeepers is more like a story I'd read, but Luke's art is better. I love that gritty black and white art. I'm kind of a sucker for that. So this was a tough call, but guess what? Todd still might win this one. We got to let Destiny decide. So first, let's hit the shuffle a couple times, and then let's hit the
spin the wheel.
Spin the wheel. Let fate decide. Oh! It stopped at Peacekeepers. All right. As per this show, fate has decided that Peacekeepers won, but Luke, have no fear, or Todd, have no fear. I will be supporting Luke as well because I feel like you did a great job. But there can be only one, and this time it was Peacekeepers. If you like this show and you want to support it, be sure and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any of these videos. Also, if you want to get those downloads every time they're made, be sure and become a member of Patreon at Action Line Studios. You can support and get that there. If you don't want to get a monthly, you're going to be able to download them individually. Just get the ones that you want. So we have that coming up. Also, you can get my book at actionlinestudios.com. All 9 issues are currently available in both physical and digital format. There are some really limited edition cosplay covers that you want to jump on before they're gone. And then, Smurf, where can they find all of your greatness and see us out?
You can find my stuff on 5280geek.com. 5280 Geek Facebook, 5280 Geek Instagram. My podcast, Weekend Geek Update, is available on all major podcasting platforms. So go over there. I just posted up a new update just last night about what's going on in the state of comics, movies, shows that have caught my attention, and things that are coming down the pipe. So a few little rants, but nothing preachy. No, nothing preachy. And it's low impact. It's great. Nothing preachy. If you are looking to spend your extra money and you would love to be a sponsor, your name here would be amazing. Sponsor this show. Reach out. Get fresh eyes on your product, your store, or whatever you are trying to promote, because we're about you. Comic books save lives. And on that bombshell, we shall say goodbye. In the meantime, run fast, laugh hard, and always be kind. Good night.